Silence hung over a plastic tray, and that was the birthday. No velvet ropes, no flashing bulbs, just a paper cup of milk, a serving of beans, and a slice of sheet pan pizza, the kind of meal that lands on every inmate's table whether they are famous or forgotten. That is how Sean "Diddy" Combs crossed 56 at the federal prison in Fort Dix, New Jersey, a long way from the life he built and the city he helped soundtrack. If you want fast, sober updates on stories like this the moment they break, hit subscribe and turn on your bell so you don't miss what comes next. On Tuesday, November 4th, Combs marked his birthday inside FCI Fort Dix, a low-security facility about 40 miles from Philadelphia. The scene was ordinary by design, which is exactly the point of prison, and it was a striking contrast to a career that once lived in perpetual motion. The Bureau of Prisons currently lists his tentative release date as May 8, 2028, a timeline that already bakes in the math of federal time, where good behavior and programming can trim months at the margins. That date is not a promise, it is a projection, and it could move again depending on the outcome of his appeal and what he does inside, from discipline to treatment programs. That birthday came 1 month after a consequential moment in a Manhattan courtroom. In early October, U.S. District Judge Arun Subramanian sentenced Combs to 50 months in federal prison and a $500,000 fine, following a summer trial in which a jury acquitted him on the most explosive counts, racketeering and sex trafficking, but convicted him on 2 counts of transporting individuals to engage in prostitution, violations of the Mann Act. The verdict threaded the needle, leaving him both cleared of the heaviest allegations and still a convicted federal felon. Sentencing in federal court is a calculus of offense level, criminal history, and aggravating factors, and the judge's remarks underscored deterrence and accountability. This is how a public life is narrowed to a number, 50 months, with the weight of a gavel. Fort Dix was not his first stop. Before the transfer, Combs was held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that defense lawyers often describe in blunt, unvarnished terms. After complaints about conditions and with an eye toward programming options, he was moved on October 30th to the sprawling New Jersey compound, which functions more like a campus than a cell block, with dormitory-style housing, open bays, and a regimented daily schedule. Low security does not mean easy, it means different, trading bars for bunks, high walls for constant counts. The rationale his team pushed, according to reporting, included better access to drug rehabilitation, something the Bureau of Prisons uses both as treatment and as a pathway that can influence time served. Daily life is, frankly, repetitive, and maybe that is part of the punishment. The menu that frames an inmate's week is utilitarian, a rotation that reportedly included cereal at breakfast, chicken parmesan, pasta, and pizza at later meals, with green beans and basic garden salad on the side. The commissary offers the small highs that inmates budget and barter around, sweet snacks like cheesecake squares, Pop-Tarts and honey buns, the kinds of sugar hits that mark the end of a long day. What it does not offer, at least right now, is applesauce, an odd absence that grabbed attention only because it was once cited as a personal favorite. Small things loom large inside. When your world shrinks to a few buildings and a few choices, a missing item on a list can feel like a door closing. He is not alone. Fort Dix is a dorm facility, and Combs is housed in an open bay with other men, living by the unwritten and written codes of federal time, where routines rule and reputations become currency. According to network reporting, he is tied into a special drug programming unit rather than the general population, a placement that prioritizes treatment blocks, classes, and urinalysis over idle hours. In that setting, the day is carved into predictable segments, roll calls and call-outs, movement lines and program sign-ins, and the rhythm can blur weeks together until court dates or family visits add punctuation. For someone who once lived on private jets and tight production schedules, that sameness probably lands like a thud. Legally, the story is far from finished. His team pushed for speed on appeal and got it, a meaningful procedural win in a system where the calendar can be a punishment of its own. A judge granted an expedited schedule, and oral arguments could be heard as soon as the spring term, with some outlets pointing to April 2026 as the practical target. A fast appeal does not guarantee a favorable outcome, but it shortens the wait for a ruling on issues they say could undercut the verdict or the sentence, from evidentiary rulings to jury instructions. Appeals are narrow, they live in the transcript, and they turn on law more than emotion. Still, for a defendant, an expedited docket is oxygen. That acceleration dovetails with the Bureau of Prisons clock. The May 8, 2028 tentative date implies a handful of things, including the possibility of time credits for programming and good conduct. The calculus is technical, but the takeaway is simple: the better you do in, the sooner you might get out, subject to the outer walls of the sentence. If the appeal lands before the credits run, a remand or resentencing could reshape that date completely. If the appeal loses, that date becomes more real, a line that everything marches toward. In either scenario, the next few months matter more than any glossy throwback to the celebrity he once enjoyed. The optics are unmissable. A man who sold aspiration now measures milestones with a commissary sheet. That is not irony, it is consequence. The absence of applesauce on a list became its own headline because it says something simple and human, that comfort is contextual. What once was nothing more than a chilled cup on a rider becomes, in a dormitory bay, a reminder of loss. People latch onto details because they make big stories legible, and because we intuitively understand that deprivation is often a matter of the small things going missing first. There is also the wider frame. This case has moved through a pressurized mix of criminal procedure, past civil claims, and intense public opinion. The jury split the difference, acquitting on the most severe allegations and convicting on narrower Mann Act counts, and the judge's sentence reflected that middle space, significant but nowhere near the maximum the government suggested during the fight. That nuance can get flattened online, where one word, guilty, becomes a be-all, and that is why the appeal and the record will matter. They are the spaces where complexity is preserved, or at least argued over carefully. So where does that leave the story tonight, after the tray is cleared and the dorm lights dim at count? With a stark picture, a 56th birthday that looked like every other day in federal custody, and a legal clock that is finally moving again. The big beats are set: a conviction on 2 counts, a 50-month sentence, a transfer to Fort Dix, a projected release in 2028, and an appeal on an accelerated track. The smaller beats are just as telling: a menu that trades excess for enough, a housing unit where privacy is a memory, a missing snack that symbolizes the distance between then and now. However the appeal lands, this is already a story about a fall and about the rules of consequence that do not bend for fame. The lights will come up tomorrow on the same schedule. The rest, for now, is law, time and choices still to be made.